All right. So Harvey, can you tell us a little bit about when did you start writing and why? When did you become the lyricist?
Oh, yeah. I started writing when I was technically in ninth grade.
Yeah.
It was like really that summer, eighth to ninth. So I was like 14. I was in a transitional space where we had moved from Massachusetts down to Florida, and I had a lot of like emotional turmoil and shit. You know, just shit that I was working through, and I couldn't find a way to like just purge it. You know, I was playing basketball all day, wouldn't do it. Drawing all day, wouldn't do it. And I've always been a big hip hop fan. You know, I was introduced to hip hop in the fourth grade when I was living in the Bronx. So one day I went to school and dudes was just battle rapping. So that's kind of how it started. We used to just battle rap and just, you know, kind of cap on each other. And, you know, I started taking it a little more seriously. I started writing my bars and kind of just piecing my thoughts together. And, you know, it was to the point where like I couldn't sleep. I'd like lay down and like just rhymes would just come to my brain and I would literally get up and just write. So yeah, man, I've been at it since I was like 14. I really started taking it like seriously once I got back to Lawrence, my junior year of high school. You know, I went to this ill youth center. You might be familiar with
Yeah,
it.
it's funny.
But yeah, you know, I went there, met up with a couple talented cats that were in the rap crew, and they was like, "Yo, you want a verse on this track? This is your audition." So I went off and I wrote the track, and I haven't looked back since.
So we've been talking to in this series of this whole series has been like almost like a purpose driven kind of concept of kind of mirroring music and artists and the times and the spaces, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like, do you feel that some of the writing that you have done, and particularly to the song that you just performed, do you feel like there's a connection to you with what's happening with the time and how you see yourself, and if you consider this purpose driven with you, with the way you're putting out your branding?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, it's like it's purposeful because like I I've been battling the concept of like generational trauma, you know, and how like if we don't correct it, then it's bound to repeat itself. So for me, you know, I've had rocky relationships with my parents and step parents, and you know, it's been traumatic for me. So I was like, yo, how can I purge this to, you know, kind of remove this obstacle from my lineage, right? Like my daughter and my son, I want to make sure that they can look at it and be like, oh snap, like Pops found a way to work through that. You know, he was able to navigate it. And to me, that's just like on a personal note, but on a grander scheme of things, I feel like that's you know, more true now than ever. You know, we're in an age where people are overexposed to information. Kids are growing up seeing all sorts of craziness, you know, and I just feel like the purpose of it is to kind of help people work through their stuff while I'm working through mine, you know, but also just keeping like the culture alive, like the culture of like what I consider to be like my best version of hip hop in my head, you know, and what I feel like that can do and what it was originally designed to do. Which, you know, we were having a conversation a little earlier about how it was like, you know, hip hop originated as the voice of the voiceless, you know, like this was a way for people to decompress, to create, to work through troubles. Like, yo, we ain't gonna fight, we gonna rap battle, we gonna breakdance battle, we could graffiti battle, whatever. But there was so many different elements to it that I feel like have almost subsided, you know. So when it comes to creating content, like for me at least, like I think of it all. Like I look at the visuals, I'm designing, I'm writing, I'm looking at the beats, I'm singing. I'm in my brain at least. I'm trying to put the world together, you know, that I want to create, and just kind of help through that, you know. And really like for a while it was just like my diary. Like a lot of these songs were just my diaries, like my thoughts, things that were going on. But you know, it's what we do.
So it's awesome to see the development of your exposure of your music to the people and to yourself, because I think at some point it's like you're looking at yourself again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's pretty awesome to witness. But how about if there's someone out there that's in the early stages of their development and kind of looking at music as or art or any form of expression as a way to kind of do that for themselves, what would be something that you would want them to know or that you would want to share from your...
I would just say it's hard to stare at the truth and it's hard to work through it. For me, like this particular song, Trauma, took me a while to write. I think I rewrote it like 3 or 4 times. I played it for my sister. She literally cried listening to it, because she relates. She was in those rooms when these conversations were happening, when these traumatic events were unfolding. So to me, it's just like, if you're creating something, make sure that it's pure and that you feel that it's doing something positive for you, and the world, it's art. Once you put it out into the world's gonna receive it and say what they want to say about it, but the intent behind it. So to me, it's just like I definitely encourage the creative arts all day, all about it. Whatever floats your boat, whether you're drawing, painting, writing raps, making beats, beatboxing, you name it. If it's a creative outlet, I support it as long as it's a positive.
And so I think I would close in saying that it's one thing to see someone overcome, and then there's something about overcoming and helping others overcome, and you're doing both, and so that's why we're honored to have you here, Misso Brown.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.